Hey everyone, welcome back. This is our Christmas special series, episode 4, where I do quick 15-minute bites of crypto discussions. And within these short sessions, I also share with you one code for 3 commas, 1 month pro access. And that's a good deal. I showed you in the first few sessions that 3 commas, 1 month pro access is about €25 or around $25 per month with a discount. Usually it's even twice as expensive. So if you haven't used 3 commas, or maybe if you know someone who may benefit from giving this a try, maybe picking up a new hobby in 2024, then this 1 month trial code or pilot code, demo code could actually be a good present. So within this episode, as before, I will share with you this code, but also I try to fill this 15 minutes with some topics and discussions that I feel could be useful to you on any level. If you are just starting, or maybe if you already have some experience, I want to share some of the reflections, thoughts, perspectives, and I'm also open to your questions. So if you have some topics that you are interested in and want me to bring up and discuss, just drop me a comment. You can reach out to me after the video, leave a comment to the video, or anywhere on Twitter or Discord or Telegram. Yesterday, somebody reached me on Telegram. Very happy to have a short chat with anyone on any of the topics if you'd like. So today I wanted to discuss one specific topic and look at the question or answer a question: how much can you make trading with bots? What can you somehow count on, or what can you expect? Like, let's start building castles in our mind, right? And I'm being sarcastic here, of course, now, but it's good to have an expectation. Just on a serious note, it's good to have a target, and it's good to measure yourself against the target. So the question of what it is you can expect, I think, is reasonable to ask and to discuss. And I would like to give you my perspective on this question. After the 3 years, and of course the first year was just kind of like you've been thrown into the ocean or the river, and it just carries you, and then later you try to orient yourself, but the currents may be just too strong. So it just takes time. Just because I say I've been 3 years in this particular industry doesn't mean it's a lot or it's too little. Definitely everyone has their own pace, and different years themselves provide and show different experience. So let's get to this discussion. How much can you really expect from trading with bots? And I have, to answer these questions, I want to show you 2 pages. One, of course, is the 3 commas that we've been looking a lot at. And on the very first session, I was showing you these presets. So I want to come back to that, and we have a bit more discussion and again look at some of the bots. But the very first and obvious thing that I want to point out is that as you kind of look through these 30 months, past last months, right? 30-day figures. So it's a 1 month figures. You will hardly see anything beyond 30%. So Here, this one on this page so far as I can see is 22, the largest. And I propose we look a bit more. So I can see 14, 12. There is unfortunately no way to sort that by the ROI, by the profit percent. You could filter it by other things, not by the profit. So 18, I can see here 17. And my filtering is off now. I'm showing everything. So any duration, any deal start condition, basically I'm showing everything. Okay, so we just saw one with 20 something, right? So far. There's another 17, 10, 13, 22 here, 24. Okay, that's interesting. So 24 now is the largest one. There's another 24 in KuCoin, right there, multi-pair bot. Let's see what else we can see. So I'm sure that somehow this could be maybe copied, pasted, like this whole page, then maybe parsed into an Excel file. And then we could look at maybe curve of distribution of profits. We could see what is the average that people are getting, what are maybe some of the ones on the higher end. So here is a few 21 and 21. Now note these ones are on one coin. This is also on one coin. So I'll come back maybe to one of these ones. Just do one more page, next page of loading the results. Okay, no, I think that's sufficient. Oh, 28, look, yeah, we can check this out. So when I was looking into this, I think about 2 years or so ago, I was thinking, man, I was thinking, well, 3Commas, they have this wealth of information. They see everybody's bots, and they could, do some data analytics. They could have this big data, whatever, BI or whatever, things that could just find the best strategies because it's all on their servers. And I was thinking, and they are not showing us the best ones because we are not seeing anything beyond 30% per month. So these ones probably are the best and they're hiding. So that was my thinking some years ago. And I don't think that's the case. Based on what I know about 3Commas, I don't think they do that. I don't think they have any kind of investment of themselves. Maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe they do. But I just don't think they bother, right? So, well, it's up to them, right? It's good or bad. There's also the question of privacy. But one of the things to also highlight is that there's probably no bot or very seldom bots that make 30% per month. So on answering the question, how much can you expect to make per month? It sounds that 30% per month is the top. And that's like that would be wonderful if you could make that actually. So just for fun, for illustration purposes, if you take I know it's like most of you know that, but just for illustration, so if you take 1,000 and next month you make the 30%, so it's 1.3 if I do it like this. So you make $300. And by the end of the year, from the 1,000, that's already 17,000, right? So each time, if you make 30% each time, so by the end of the year, it's already 70,000. And if instead of 1,000, you start with 10,000, you'll start getting into millions fairly soon. So 30% would be absolutely amazing if that was safe, reliable, consistent, and if it's scalable, right? So for example, if you could really put like, well, here it's 10, but like later, for example, if you could really like trade 50,000 and maybe 100,000 and so on. But 30% is not so common. So that's kind of like one of the answers to the question how much you can expect. Well, 30%, if you reach that, that's amazing. Probably not very sustainable, not so common for bot trading. So let's take a look maybe at one of these high earning ones. I don't know if I will be able to open this one. Let me try, because sometimes it doesn't show you the bot correctly if you don't have the exchange configured. So since this was a KuCoin, some of the configuration is slightly different. Okay, I do have KuCoin exchange. Apparently, I have 26 bucks there, and that's the performance of that bot that I just clicked on. By the way, I can, if you want, I can save this bot, and I can give you the link in the end of the video. I can put it in the description. So what is this bot doing? It's trading Pol coin. So as far as I know, Pol, I think it's Polis, is kind of an evolution of Matic coin. So they will migrate Matic to Pol on a high level. And like I think people are trying to get rid of Matic, and Pol is gaining popularity. So by itself, I believe the price action for Pol is quite bullish. And what this bot is doing, it's actually a very simple bot, as I can see. It's trading this non-stop. So what was the percent? I don't remember. 28% per month. It made so it's trading this non-stop ASAP condition. And there are many sophisticated conditions there you could do, and you can nest them. You can have multiple, you can do or and, but this is as simple as it gets. It kind of brute forces the market, buys and sells, buys and sells. Then it takes profit at 1.5%, and it has very simple DCA, all set to 1. So it's almost like a grid, but it just has one cell. So it has multiple buys, 10 safety orders. Deviation is at 1%, so it covers only 10%. That's really not that much. And then it sells when the price goes back up. See, and even the size, look, the volume size is such a small increase, 1.05. So that simple bot on the right coin, and I think that is a good coin or token, is making 20, or at least last month it made 28%. So let me, I will, as I promised, I will leave you the link to that bot. So I will start in order to save it, and I will stop it immediately now, and then I will give you the link before we move to discussion to the other points. So 30%, as I mentioned, probably would be amazing, probably would be the top. Now I have another page open here, and that's Miser. Miser, that's the second platform that I use. And I like it, I recommend it. I use both 3Commas and Miser. They have similarities, they have differences, so use them complementary. In Miser, there's a marketplace. And marketplace shows the published strategies. Kind of like these 3Commas presets that I was showing you here. But on Miser, you actually need to publish the strategy. So it's with the user consent. But also even with the user's profit, you can publish the strategy and people can follow it. And I've done 5 videos now, or 4, on Miser, so you can check them out. You can check out my video, you can check out the platform. It's good. So the reason I'm bringing up Miser is also to show you what are the ROIs, what are the profits that strategy providers on Miser are getting. And if I sort this by highest returns, let's see. So we're getting a little bit of well, there's a little deviation in the first few ones, and then we're getting to these numbers that we've seen maybe also in 3 commas. So this bot, and this one is, I think, is very new, but this one from this gentleman or lady, I don't know, has 61%. And on Miser, we can look at statistics. So it's not super consistent, but it had, well, recently it had about 30%. This last month was exceptional. And then this one is mine, by the way, but that's a different story. And then maybe skip through this one as well. And then we're getting to 30, 30, 30, 30, and below. So with a very few exceptions, it does again appear to me that 30% is some kind of a ceiling for the monthly ROI. And sometimes people are able to beat that ceiling, which was the case, for example, for my bot. And I've crossed my fingers that we're going to continue. But generally speaking, 30%, that appears to be the ceiling. So that's my answer. How much you can expect from bot trading? Well, if you can get 30, that's probably going to be very good. You're probably going to be in some kind of a top percentile in terms of performance. And if you can keep it consistent, well, you're gonna be rich sufficiently soon. So it's good. Now, I want to show a different side of this coin real fast, but before I go there, let me go back to 3commas interface and let me give you the access code. Access code for 1 month pro. So those of you who don't have 3commas can take this code. I'm leaving it on the chat as well now and on the screen. So enjoy it. And if you know someone who may benefit from trading on the platform, go ahead. Even this bot, I will give you the link, the one on KuCoin, trading poll in ASAP condition. And you see, look, order sizes are very small. Actually, that is maybe something to be remarked on. So I see base order is 2, and then safety order is 4 in that setting. So this is a bit interesting to note that it's actually here, the volume scale has a very minor increase, but because the safety order was already set to be twice as the base order, so the base order is $2, but the safety order is 4, the bot itself will reach up to $53 of a total volume. So if all 10 safety orders will fill, you need $53.31. So you can see on KuCoin, for example, if you trade this, or you can port it to another exchange, you don't need a large capital. You can take just this bot. Pol is a good coin. You can take another one that you feel confident about, and you can give a 1 month go. So to close the session, I wanted to give you a slightly different perspective. So we talked about this 30% per month. We talked about bot trading. And I have a price of BONK, this BONK meme coin. And it's 1 year that I set the price chart. But even if you look at the 3 months, you can see quite a staggering growth. So 3 months, it's 9,000%, and in 1 year, it's 18,000% of growth, and all you had to do really is to hold that coin. What is this thing, this BONK thing? Well, that's the meme coin they created on Solana a year ago. They dropped it. They airdropped it last Christmas, so it's exactly a year. And it was kind of for fun, but also they started to create utility for it later on with gamification, NFTs, airdrops, staking, and so on. And they were rewarding developers, Solana developers. And also later, as Solana phones were manufactured and shipped, this is just very recent news. They also had this BONK coin as a reward, as an airdrop. And the story goes is that these developers, there's around 20 of them, they got the small airdrop of this BONK token, and each of them gotten around $300 worth of the airdrop. 300, right? But because of this price increase, now these 300 are worth a bit more than $500,000. So you can do the math yourself to confirm that, but that's really the case. From $300 to 500,000. So that's the story. That's the other side of the coin. You choose if you go on the dark side or the light side, or maybe both. It's definitely fun. Guys, with this, I've finished the session. I wish you great celebration tomorrow if you're celebrating Christmas. I may or may not be able to do a live stream, but I wish you all the very best and many presents, and we speak soon. Bye.